on a larger scale.
Mack, meetings going on in the Big 12, and obviously it's still a little bit of who's in, who's out, because it's just kind of a weird situation timeline-wise with Texas OU and then the 4 new schools and all of that. But, I mean, gosh, just today alone, I mean, there's the revenue figure, there's the hopes for a commissioner by, Big 12 media days and so on. But I guess we'll start with revenue. Obviously COVID took a hit out of everybody and took a bit of everybody's pie. But how did it feel to see the Big 12, see their revenue increase last season?
Yeah, no, I think we were all extremely grateful to see the numbers. And of course, we're in the process of budget, and so we knew those numbers. But for us to be back on track and the projected numbers, and for us to continue to be in a healthy place when you think about the other 4 Power Fives. And so I think that I don't know, I left. It's interesting. So I left the meetings candidly really, really excited about the future of the Big 12, and that it is viable, and it will continue to be viable, and I certainly even think more viable than what it is today when we think about the 5 autonomous conferences or the 5 Power Five. The Big 12 is going to be strong, and it's going to be relevant. And so left Dallas extremely excited. And then on the other hand, I also left Dallas really frustrated. Really frustrated in terms of the state of college athletics and where we are, and trying to navigate all of this. And I think what's most frustrating is there's not a lot of answers at our fingertips. I appreciate the great work that the members of the Transformation Committee are doing, and obviously Dr. Livingstone a part of that, Shane Lyons, the athletic director from West Virginia also. And so Big 12 has 2 representatives, and so there's a lot of heavy lifting going on, but there's so much more to do, and just trying to figure out what membership levels are going to look like, and how we're going to potentially govern ourselves, what kind of new governance model. So there's a lot going on, and so I apologize for the long answer, but I am excited about the future of the Big 12.
Well, Mack, we had Jamie Pollard on the show the other day, and you know him well. He's a very passionate individual, and we talk to you all the time. You talk to him. We've talked to other athletic directors. It seems like everybody wants similar things, but not the same exact things. And the devil's in the details, and that appears to be where these things are going off the tracks. Am I wrong there?
Yeah, I think we all believe in the value of college athletics, and we get so distracted from it because of the money, quite frankly, and that's in many shapes and sizes, right? That's whether it's salaries, whether it's name, image, and likeness, whether it's Alston, whether all kinds of things. And fundamentally, we've got to find a way to get back to our foundation. I truly believe in the value of education, and that seems to just get lost in all of this. And when you think about the percentages of Americans that have a college education, and we're certainly providing that for many of our young people. Again, that just seems not to mean anything to anybody anymore. And so I think we need to go back. We need to go back to that. And then, how we navigate some of these other pieces, Paul will be interesting. And, I think we're moving away from the days where the NCAA is going to navigate all of that because of antitrust. I think we're gonna get to a place where conferences are gonna have the autonomy to manage and dictate some of this, if not most of it. And so there will certainly be differences between the conferences and amongst the conferences, and what that's going to look like. Nobody knows it at this point in time, but I think if you fast forward a year from now, we'll certainly have a better idea. And so it's frustrating because there is a lot of commonality and there's a lot of shared vision in terms of what our core values are. But there's certainly just a lot of differences, even within the Power Five, let alone then the Group of Five and all Division I. And so how do you do that and make everybody feel good about it? And so that's the challenge. But hey, we'll find our way. Just because I'm frustrated today doesn't mean I'll be frustrated a year from now. We'll thread this needle and find the way.
Mack, one of the hottest topics, I guess, in college circles over the last week or two has been the elimination of divisions for those who want to, change up their championship game format. Everybody given the option, the autonomy to be able to, crown their champion the way that they want to. With the Big 12 kind of in this weird transition, as I mentioned earlier, and so many other issues on your plate, how much was any of that discussed amongst the topics that you guys addressed?
Yeah, and so we certainly talked in depth about football matters, football rules, etc. And when I mentioned that, right, transformation committee, modernization of rules, and so we talked about recruiting calendar and some other things in regards to football. We didn't dive deep. To be honest with you, into what the schedule will eventually look like, and whether or not the Big 12 will have divisions or one division. We've got that subcommittee, and it was really pushed to them, and obviously I'm fortunate and blessed to serve on that, but. When we were out in Phoenix for spring meetings, that that hadn't passed. It hadn't gone through the D1 Council, and now that it has officially, we'll get to work on it and see, what one division looks like, what that model looks like, versus what two divisions looks like. And again, right now we're just focused on the 23 football season and the 24 football season.
Right.
Whatever we do in 23-24 doesn't mean that that's exactly the way we're going to do it in 25. And I think, when we think about 25 and beyond, it's now 12 teams, it's new television partners, it's how many are in the CFP, is it 12? And so all of those, I think, will have a factor in terms of what conference schedule and whether it's one or two divisions beginning in 25 and beyond.
How much do you have interest in what the other conferences would do, or any kind of uniformity when it comes to a committee that seems to boil things down very basically? And if yours was determined to be somehow less than in their minds, would wind up having you out, like it happened with Baylor and TCU at the very beginning of the CFP. Do you look at what is the ACC doing, what is the SEC, the Big Ten, or do you just have to focus on you guys and that?
Yeah, I mean. I won't speak for the other four conferences, but I think, we certainly, have an idea and are interested in the other four. But we're making the sausage when we're in those meetings and we're having conversation and discussion. It's 90% on what truly is best for the Big 12. And as you can imagine, that's probably harder than normal right now, because we're going to be, we truly believe that we're going to be starting, a year from now, July 1 of 2023, we're going to be a conference of 14, and, and 2 members are going to be moving out. And so what's really best for the Big 12 when you've got 4 coming in and 2 moving out? And so, that complicates it a little bit. It's a much clearer direction, I think, when you end up with the 12 members. And so, but we're gonna be focused on what's best for the Big 12.
Final thing from me, Mac. I saw Lawrence Shavanik talk about the potential announcement of a commissioner next month at Big 12 Media Days, which next month, that's crazy to think it's already almost here. But how are you feeling about the process and how it's gone so far?
Yeah, I think it's, I think it's moving along like we all thought it would, and as you can imagine, there's great interest, and there's no doubt that we'll attract a great candidate, and and that candidate is going to be prepared to hit the ground running. There's a lot going on right now in college athletics, and there's a lot going on right now just within the Big 12.
All right, Mac, last thing for me, and I know you're hiring a coach. We talked about it. I know you said you were planning to tell me, but now I ruined it, so I'll learn my lesson this time. But do you have to filter your email when there is a coaching search open, because you'll just get random things, or people will stop you and say, who you should hire is this guy, so you don't have to fall into that well?
Yeah. So thank goodness for Lauren, but we create a baseball search email folder, and everything gets dumped into that. And, we certainly are, I do receive a lot of emails with suggestions. Quite frankly, some of them are good suggestions and some of them aren't so good. So, and certainly text messages and all of that. And so, we navigate and filter through that. Right. And then, we obviously, have a starting place for us, people that we're interested in. And, as you could imagine, there's people on our list, initially that, we do hear from others, and they're recommending, some of those same people. And then, there's certainly a lot of names that come to us that maybe are not on our initial list.
Mack Rhoades, Baylor Director of Athletics. Mac, thanks so much for joining us, and I hope that we raised the level today without Smokey.
It was a much smoother, more efficient show. I don't know why, but it was. So appreciate you both. Have a great week.
All right, thanks, Mac. We'll talk to you soon. It's Mack Rhoades, Baylor Director of Athletics. I had to let him get a dig in at the end. Had to. Well, I mean, you should hear us when we talk on the phone before the segment. But he said a lot there, Craig. He said a lot. I thought it was pretty interesting when you asked him about the commissioner search, and he was kind of like, well, and that just might have been, but
I don't know. Maybe he doesn't like who they're talking to, or doesn't feel like maybe it's going to be announced at Big 12 Media Days, or it could just be like he just, his voice just changed or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not going to read too much into that, but it did sound a little bit maybe more hesitant than Shavanik's comments about, basically claiming they're going to name a commissioner by Media Days, but I would think that they kind of have to do that. I mean, it'd be kind of weird to go to a Media Days and not have a commissioner there.
I would hope, if you're just for Bob Bowlesby's sake, that he could walk around and be like, hey, here's the new guy, as opposed to, or woman who's the new person, that's the commissioner, as opposed to, we don't know yet, for 2 days, which would be kind of on brand with the Big 12 on how they've done things kind of in the past. I harken back to One True Champion when that's another thing that he kind of fell on his face on. I remember when at the Big 12 Media Days, I don't know if you were there at that one, Craig, but somebody asked him about once you're champion, and then he said,
I've been to every one since 2013, I was there.
So once you're champion, and his answer was, well, yeah, just once you're champion. And whoever asked him the question, yeah, but I'm reading the rules, and it appears that that's not really the case, that you could very much have 2 or 3 true champions.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know who put that together. I hope that they're not in charge of anything like that anymore because that was stupid. It was just dumb. I mean, yeah, once you're champion, but immediately you have a controversy over who the champion is. I mean, that's just dumb stuff. And how they didn't see that potentially coming down. Like, I mean, is there no like checks and balances as far as like, okay, yeah, that's a cool idea. Once you're champion. Are we certain that that's always going to be the case? Like, because this is our motto. This is what we're going by now. And then immediately it's like, no, there's a controversy. There's 2 champions, even though there's a head-to-head, but the commissioner doesn't want to name who's the champion. I mean, it was ridiculous. That was stupid, and that was, a big mistake on the Big 12's part as far as the branding part of things goes. Yeah, that was silly.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot to unpack there. I mean, we'll see who this commissioner is in about a month's time or a little over a month's time. And, no timeline on baseball, but he did say that, there's that transfer window that closes down, in less than a month now. I mean, a month as of a couple of days ago. So I would imagine that, we'll probably be hearing some news here sooner rather than later on the baseball coach. I don't think you want to drag that out too long. But there are teams and potentially candidates playing right now, so you can't probably go full bore the way that you would like to. But same time, we know he hired Dave Aranda when Dave Aranda was preparing LSU for a national championship. So I'm sure he's got some conversations that he'll have here in the next week or two, and we'll know soon enough who that person's going to be. But between that and just what's going on with the Big 12 and media days here in a month, there's certainly a lot going on, and you can hear the stress levels. I can only imagine what it's like to be, somebody in his position these days, trying to get stuff done when it seems like you can't get anything done, and that you not only can't get anything done, but as soon as you get one thing done, there's 5 more things that pop up. That's got to be really frustrating, but that's why they usually make pretty good money and they're in the spots that they're in. So I have full